welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber Trezaeth, and this is Noxious Revival Miracles. This deck is basically the most perfect and beautiful execution of blue-white control that there possibly is. It's a lot of sweeper effects, a lot of counter spells, and a lot of card draw, and just a few ways to win the game when your opponent's completely out of resources. It's truly beautiful to behold. And kind of the inspiration for this deck was Noxious Revival has much of the same text on it as Mystic Sanctuary, a card that is banned, and really good Miracles. I'll give you a peek behind the curtain a little bit here. Trezaeth reached out to me months ago about this deck. Modern went through a ban cycle since then. Some different things have changed, and there used to be Counterbalance in the deck, which is another way to use Noxious Revival. Now it is here primarily as a way to reset Miracles, which is still fine, but it's way less of part of the thing than it used to be. And if you're not a believer that Noxious Revival is Mystic Sanctuary, then you could just cut these and play two other cards, and the deck wouldn't change much, but I am going to stay true to the vision here. We have in this deck 6 Rats. That's a lot of those. We could call it 8 if you want to count the Noxious Revivals. We've got 2, 6, 9 counter spells for the things that we can't wrath. We've got Solitude for spot removal. Wandering Emperor, also spot removal. Tamiyo as another Planeswalker, and potential overwhelming card advantage that also protects your life total for a while. We've got Deduce, Tune the Narrative, and Brain Surge to help flip that Tamiyo and keep cards flowing. Tune the Narrative, doing a little Dark Ritual impression. You draw a card, you get 2 energy. That energy is just in the bank for whenever you want to Wrath of the Skies. It's really important to be able to tune the narrative ahead of Wrath if you want to keep up with a deck like Eldrazi. Because all their stuff costs 4 and 5, but they spend 2 or 3 lands to cast it, so you're frequently behind on actual mana value, even if you're holding the Wrath on curve. So this is an important piece of the puzzle here. And the primary win condition is Entreat the Angels, just like in the olden days. This card's very bad if you have to spend normal mana on it, but white X creates a lot of power and toughness very quickly. If you set it up with something like Brain Surge or Deduce, you could do it even in your opponent's combat step. Obviously, that's a bigger mana investment, because that's 3 Angels you don't get if you cast Brain Surge to make it happen. But this game might go long enough that that's plenty. I worked with Trezaeth on this deck, nailing down some of the final slots, and we actually ended up adding an Entreat the Angels. There was just one for kind of whenever you fully take a control, you could dig for this thing. But we realized that Modern's so fast, so powerful, a deck like Boros Energy or Eldrazi is not really going to interact well with 2 4/4s if you just blind flip this thing early on in the game. Even 1 4/4, if you just flip this on turn 3, it's like, okay, yeah, I'll take one of those. So having more of this made sense to us. Cards we're worried about in the format, Teferi Time Raveler, the biggest of them. That's why there's so many stupid Force Negations in the main deck. If Teferi Time Raveler and the One Ring weren't cards in the format, I think I would main deck probably 0 Force Negations. I really hate 2-for-1ing myself, but there are 2 cards that see play that are very bad if they resolve. And that's why we're on those. Kind of want to queue into creature decks like crazy. I could see Eldrazi grinding us out, but there's a lot of sideboard for that. We got Narset for One Rings. We've got Damping Sphere for Storm and Eldrazi. Get Lost can answer a Resolve Teferi. The One of Fun of Orm's Chant in the deck. Good against Storm. You probably bring it in versus dedicated attacking decks as well. Just get that fog action. Maybe you do it 3 turns in a row. I don't know your life. This deck is beautiful to look at. I hope it plays out well. Let's find out. This is Noxious Miracles. I am on the draw in round 1. Holy smokes, this hand is suspicious, but I think I'm going to keep it. Hansi D would be proud. There are certainly modern decks that are just going to run this over and it's not going to be close to close. However, okay, they mulled a 6 and revealed 2 Devourers of Destiny. So we are playing against Eldrazi. The keep was based on the strength of knowing that Terminus is in my deck somewhere. We get some card selection off Meticulous Archive and Hedge Maze. I'm just going to play this Archive. Wrath of the Skies. I am actually going to put that on top because I could pitch it to Solitude and take some of this pressure off. With 5 cards in hand and 2 of them being Devourers, and they exiled 6 cards off those Devourer triggers, they basically have, like, possibly 3 actual cards in their hand right now. Yeah, they played Ugin's Lab, imprinted the thing, and then just didn't do anything else. Brain Surge being in my hand makes me want to hold on to this fetch land a little longer. However, if I play the fetch land, I'm representing Counterspell, or if I play Hedge Maze, I'm not. I'm just going to play Hedge Maze, it's fine. Another Wrath of Skies. Okay, I don't want a second one of those. I barely wanted the first one. Something's happening in the end step. Looks like probably a Kozilek's command. That's really the only instant they play. They're going to make 2 Dinguses and scry 2, draw 1. Top-bottomed. Found something they liked. If they send through the breach here, I can kill the Emrakul. Well, here's that shit that we can never beat. Alright, bad news. Yeah, I was ready for a creature of some variety. Kept the hand on the strength of that, and instead we're going to lose to the 1 ring. Narset is in the sideboard, unfortunately. Oh, I was probably supposed to play Flooded Strand here, because I can't even set up Entreat the Angels with 1 white in play. But I wouldn't Entreat for 1. Okay. Well, I get to cast Brain Surge, that's fun. With the 1 ring in play, I'm a lot more worried about them going through the breach, because even if I exile in Emrakul, and if I exile in Ulamog, I have to sacrifice 2 permanents. I actually just realized right now that I played against Through the Breach the other day with Solitude in my deck, and they played Ulamog a number of times, and I don't think I sacked the Ulamog. Or I don't think I sacked the Solitude to the Ulamog, which is something you can do if you stack your triggers correctly. Whoops. Everyone yelling at me in the comments a week and a half ago. You were right. Well, there's Terminus, and there was a pause on the Brain Surge, so they do know that's coming. I'm going to put back Hallowed Fountain and Terminus, and then I'll flip the Terminus. You put your creatures to the bottom. Also, Stone Rain, got him. Definitely playing a fetch land here, as I do want to clear the top card of my deck. Drawing actual counterspell would be nice. Like if I can keep them from going through the breach, their ring might kill them if they can only cast 1 spell a turn. That is a thing that is theoretically possible. I could fetch Shock and Brain Surge here, or I could just get Meticulous Archive, get a small amount of selection. I think I'm gonna Meticulous Archive, just continue taking this slow, which might be bad, but I'll Fountain to the graveyard. Draw for turn, it's another Meticulous Archive. Now I can Brain Surge and fetch in the same turn, or I can just cast Solitude. All of which are things I like. Doing something in my end step. It could be a giant command, or it could be an end step through the breach. Okay. They're making spawns. It's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're very close to just casting the biggest creatures in their deck. They scryed 4 and bottomed all of them. How are there even that many bad cards you don't want in the whole list? They've seen more than half their deck at this point. There are 32 cards in their deck, and they've scryed 5 to the bottom. Ooh, were they looking specifically for Boseiju? Was that the plan? Would be nice if that's what they were building around, because I have never had an answer to Through the Breach. Okay, here's a Devourer of Destiny. This is not that one. A big Brain Surge in the end step. Leaving up white in case I blind flip a Terminus again. The Terminus was the second or third card down. Wait, where did this come from? Oh, I draw 4 cards. Wow. My brain, this is the first time I've gotten to play with Brain Surge, and boy, am I excited. Okay, I'm actually going to put back Terminus. Okay, do I even want to flip the Terminus? I don't think that I do. Okay, so I'm going to go Terminus and Brain Surge back, and then just draw for my turn. If I play Basic Plains and Tamiyo, because Tamiyo will flip off the Brain Surge, it won't die to my Terminus. And now if they go through the breach, I can beat an Ulamog or an Emrakul without sacking any permanents. Ring's going up to 5. They are relentless over there. And if they set up a double breach, I can actually roast the first creature with Terminus and then Solitude the second one. They just stir it up in Eldrazi Temple. They're not that far away from casting Emrakul, which is kind of crazy. They have the Boseiju. They are using it for mana. That's good. All good stuff. I get to act like, oh no, I don't have a counterspell because you played around it so well, as if I would have drawn any of the 1,000 that I play by this point. Emrakul's in. Beginning of combat, we're going to Brain Surge. Surge this, Brain. Yes, reveal Terminus. Put back Spell Snare and Wrath of the Skies. Actual cards I don't want. Stack my triggers correctly so I get to keep my Tamiyo. Terminus, I would like to cast. Slurp them away. That's sick. Oh, wow. What a miracle that is. I can't believe they conceded that. They will have 15 mana and redraw that Emrakul before I do anything. I guess if they don't think they can replace their ring, or if I counterspell the follow-up rings and just let them bleed out. Yeah, that was wild. Okay. I didn't think I was winning that game. I was just doing my best to hang on. Okay, Damping Sphere, Consigned to Memory. I can even see Ormschant being good here. If I kick it on a turn where they go through the breach, their creature just dies in the end step, and I don't care. Do I bring in Narset versus the One Ring only? And I don't really want... I guess Force Negation does counter the through the breach as well. I don't know where I'm going to find 9 cuts here. Maybe some of the forces do go. One of the forces goes. Spell Snare can definitely go. That one's easy. I really hope that I don't end up just shaving Noxious Revival every round, because that's kind of the point of the deck. I want to give it a chance. I'll leave one in, but I do think it's the cut. Not really a Timeless Dragon matchup. Timeless Dragon is a white card for Solitude. Maybe Lorien Revealed is worse than Timeless Dragon. There are 22 lands plus the 2 cyclers in the list. I could actually see Jace taking things over. I can't see Wandering Emperor taking things over, because if Ulamog or Emrakul attack, the damage is already done. I've been annihilated. Entreat is still my win condition. Oh, Wrath of the Skies. This card is mid in what's going on here. They're not even like an Eldrazi deck in the terms of putting creatures into play and attacking. Wrath does sweep up any number of spawns, though. I could play Get Lost to kill their real creatures. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe I get Lorien Revealed back in and cut the last Wrath of the Skies. Yeah, I'll try this. Because this is the combo deck. This is the build that has Through the Breach and the One Ring, and not the build that has, like, Glaring Fleshraker into Thought-Knot Seer. Oh, but if they go turn 1 Chalice of the Void, that could actually mess me up. The Stone Brain. Okay. What are you taking with the Stone Brain? Terminus? I hope you don't take Brain Surge. That would be a bold name this early. But, I mean, power to them. They boarded in this card. Maybe they'll name Harbinger of the Seas proactively, a card that I do not play. That would be great. Talisman of Impulse, and me without my spell snares. I've been brained. I gotta imagine Terminus is the name. Unless they respect Brain Surge so much. Oh, Consigned to Memory. Oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Sure. Good sideboard pivot. That is going to get 4 cards out of my deck. And see that my hand is bad. Nice. I was going to say Force Negation is a card I'm interested in, but pretty happy with this counterspell for the same reasons. Maybe it tilted the counterspell a little too obviously by playing it out, by playing out the basic island. Like, at least play a fetch land if I want to hide that. The One Ring. Counterspell. Just saw my hand. Surprise. Cool. We didn't get Veiled of Summered. I don't even know if they play that, but they were representing it with their mana. Attack with Tamiyo. I'm going to flip Tamiyo this turn. Basic Plains, Brain Surge. I'm doing it now so I can start ticking up. Entreat the Angels, I'll put that 2 cards back. Entreat and Tamiyo, does this matter? I guess it's like if they shuffle my deck, what do I want gone? Probably Hedge Maze. We've seen Stone Brain. Okay. Well, we survived the first wave. They do have 7 mana in play, though, and 3 cards in hand. Bro, chill! Okay. Well, they also had 2 copies of the best card in their hand. Or best card in their deck. It is a fine card to build a game plan around, though. Disappointing that they have them. I'm going to play Misty Rainforest, and I'm going to buy back Counterspell. I want to at least get something going with that. And now I have to decide, do I actually even want this Entreat that's on top of my deck? I'd have to tap out to make 2 4/4s, and I don't really want to tap out in this position. I'm getting ringed on like crazy. Yeah, I think I'm going to fetch Meticulous Archive in the end step, and then crack a clue. Meticulous Archive, Surveil, Castle Vantress. That card is fine, but I have so many lands, I can't afford to spend time drawing that right now. And we continue to draw lands, plus Tamiyo. Play Misty Rainforest, and I will be going to clean up this turn, which is fine. I have too many lands in my hand. I'm 1 mana short of bouncing the One Ring and encountering it on the way back down. And they could slam Through the Breach in the end step, which does appear to be what's happening. This could be bait. Like, they know I have Counterspell. They might not even have a monster in their hand, but I'm still priced into interacting with this. Okay, so they picked up the World Breaker. They can start exiling my lands. But now I don't have to go to discard. That's cool. Yeah, I wish I had Solitude in my hand so I could have just let that resolve. I just have this nagging feeling that they don't actually have an Emrakul. World Breaker. Probably going to exile Meticulous Archive. Okay. I will, in response, fetch and cast Brain Surge. I'll get Basic Island. I have Basic Plains in my hand. Surging my brain here. Force Negation, the 3rd Tamiyo. Just all the worst cards imaginable. Okay, put back Hedge Maze and Flooded Strand. A World Breaker is in. Talisman's in. Snuck that one past my counterspells. I can shuffle with Timeless Dragon. Is that something I want to do? Tamiyo does not die this turn. I could just hurl Tamiyo to pick up Counterspell. I think I actually do want the shuffle here. Shuffle. Get Meticulous Archive. Draw. Narset. Oh, that's so close to being good. And buy back Counterspell, hurling the Tamiyo. Gonna Meticulous Archive first. Don't need Mystic Gate. Buy back Counterspell. If I had played my lands differently, I could have played out one of these Tamiyos and discarded 1 fewer cards. My other Basic Plains are my Flooded Strand. What would I rather be gone of? Okay, Hallowed Fountain can go. I have enough basics. So my plan, once again, is counter follow-up rings until their ring kills them, which is not the worst plan I've ever had to play with in any game, but I don't like it. Thought-Knot Seer. This is a counterable spell, so I will counter it. They haven't seen a Force of Negation yet, or yes, they have. They've seen my whole deck. But if they flip it here and Through the Breach me, I do have a force for that. I don't have anything quite so clean as like Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshares to Narset, hope to find an answer to World Breaker. It has to be Solitude or flip a Terminus. They pitched another World Breaker to Ugin's Lab rather than just playing that World Breaker, which must mean they have something better to do. At 7 cards in hand, I believe them. Force that. World Breaker, breaking the world. Come on, Miracle Terminus. Deduce. Yeah, that's basically the same thing, except not like it at all. Okay, I can fetch my last Meticulous Archive, cast Deduce, or crack their clue on their turn and try to flip Terminus. I have Otawara getting closer to useful. I can draw with clue now and still do everything else I wanted to do. Flooded Strand, let's go. End step, something's happening. It's a Kozilek's command for 1. What are we doing? It is. Okay, they're got their card on top. They go to 10 from their ring. They have 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1 Eldrazi Temple hard cast Emrakul here. Oh, there it is. Let's go. We're in the zone now. Okay, they're playing Thought-Knot Seer. I could deduce and try to counter this. I could let it resolve and then try to flip Terminus onto it. I lose to Through the Breach regardless in that environment. I get to keep a clue. I guess they can't take Otawara, which could stabilize me versus a breached Emrakul here. Yeah, bad times all around. That second One Ring wasn't ready, and they took Deduce. Do I actually even have a fetchable left in my deck for this Otawara? There's 2 Hallowed Fountain, 3 Island, 2 Plains. I think I've been through all those already. 3, 4, 5, 6. Meticulous Archive. Why did I think a Hallowed Fountain was dead already? Did I make that up? Okay, another Thought-Knot Seer. Well, can't stop the train now. It's rolling. It's coming through. It's flip Terminus or bust. Was it last game that I lost a Hallowed Fountain somehow? Fresh One Ring, reset the clock. Okay, well, I'm not going to have to auto-wire this turn anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to get the Meticulous Archive. There is one more of those, and I'm going to do a Hallowed Fountain count while I'm in there. Flooded Strand, fetch. Meticulous Archive. I could get Hedge Mace. I have enough white. If I draw the Noxious Revival, does that even do anything? Might as well keep them on their feet. Show me Terminus. Tune the Narrative is not Terminus and not useful. Terminus. Right off the top, 3 outer. Tune the Narrative again. Okay. Still not what I wanted. I can Eternalize Timeless Dragon and still tune the Narrative and try to spike a Terminus, or I could use Fetch Land as 2 looks at a Terminus on their turn. I think it's better to Terminus them. It's extremely dangerous because I'm dead on board, but like their 7-card hand with the ring active that they've been sculpting since turn 3 can't beat a 4/4 here. I don't buy it. I'm going to let them get into Declare Combat so we're past the point where Through the Breach can kill me. Meticulous Archive. Look at Terminus. Show me Terminus. Flooded Strand into the graveyard. Tune the Narrative for Terminus. Let's go. It's a miracle. It's not Terminus, but it does engage. Yeah, let's go. 3 4/4s. This is block, leave a 4/4 back. I go to 4. Or I should just double block 1. That's the same as leaving it back. If they have multiple Kozilek's commands in their hand right now, they can push this through. If they could kill 2 of these angels, they win. 1 Kozilek's command's been used already. They've seen more than half their deck. Mana's being tapped. Even something like Dismember, they have enough life to push through. If they kill 2 angels, I have to chump the World Breaker, go to 1, and hope to flip Terminus. Okay, they tap mana a bunch of times, then stop tapping mana. I'm just going to double block one of these things and block the other one. Hopefully I draw 2 cards here and go into my turn stable at 4 life. Okay, all that happened. Solitude. Okay. Counterspell. I'm still not going to pretend this is me having a chance, but that was, in fact, a miracle. Oh, this is a lot of mana in the pool. Oh, 15. We're just casting Emrakul and going again. They found the line. Maybe this is just a Kozilek's command for 13. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Nope. All right. Actually, Emrakul. A real shame. I drew the Solitude, but not the white card. Still dead, though. Super dead. Okay. Get Lost does kill something like World Breaker. The way that game folded out, the Wandering Emperor would have actually been good. Folded out? Unfolded? Is that what I'm trying to say? Folded out is a weird way to talk about a Magic game. Okay. Without my Wrath's in, I think Tune is less important. I still want some. Tamiya was really good early on in the game. Consigned to Memory, they've shown me they're willing to Stone Brain that card, which I'm not going to not play it. If they want to spend 4 mana to in 4 cards out of my deck, they can do that. But that is a on-time answer to that card. We also got smoked by the One Ring after I boarded out an answer to the One Ring, but I boarded in 2 other answers to the One Ring. Hard to balance all that. I also flooded out like crazy, which I feel like 22 lands is low for a modern control deck. And the way that went, it did not feel that way. I think I'm going to go in like this, just +1 Wandering Emperor. Still leave the Get Lost out. Okay, keep. I have Consign this time, which can take out a Stone Brain before it can stone my brain. Delete on Flooded Strand and pass. Okay, this is the best hand we've had so far in the match. Let's hope it lines up well. Ugin's Lab. I could counter the trigger, but it still taps for 1, and I'd rather counter whatever comes out of it. Not that, though. I don't care about that. Gonna get a Meticulous Archive here. Wandering Emperor. I'm gonna keep you around. Now I'm representing Counterspell or Consign with Replicate. Another Lab. Straight to the moon. Didn't pitch for that one. And didn't cast a spell. Okay. The 3rd Meticulous Archive is arriving. Misty Rainforest. I actually don't want that here. I'm going to play the 3rd Archive. Archive Storm is 3. I'll put Terminus on top. That lets me ignore a lot of stuff. And I can just have it floating around on this Brain Surge if I don't end up flipping it this turn. Okay, I have to click quickly through my draw step, though, so it's not obvious I drew a Miracle. I don't know if I got away with that. They could try and end step through the Breach to test me here. If it's Emrakul, I don't really need to counter this. Or, yes, I do. Yes, I freaking do. All right, I need to counter anything that would come out of that. Yeah, because if it's tapped, then it's already annihilated. Never mind. Wandering Emperor is not good. We talked about that when sideboarding after game 1. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, shit. I can counter an Annihilator trigger, but I'm still taking 22 damage. Jesus Christ. All right, well, sometimes they just send it twice, and that's that. Yeah, I mean, that is certainly one way to get it done. They cast 2 red spells this game, 0 colorless spells, and got me dead on turn 4. This deck's really good. This is one of the premier Modern decks right now, and that's why. On to the next round. Disappointing outcome. I thought we were doing well.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw for round number 2. I'm going to keep my hand. I've got some card selection and some stuff to do. Ooh, okay. A Ganjo Castle Ocelot Pride. This is probably going to be a good matchup to ramp a Wrath of the Skies out against. Do I want to fetch... I almost said Mystic Sanctuary. I would love to fetch Mystic Sanctuary. Hallowed Fountain and lose 2 extra life to potentially Wrath for a Gajillion on turn 2. I guess I can make the decision, right? Or no, if I feel like I don't need to, I could just get Meticulous Archive anyway. Yeah, playing Misty Rainforest just covers all of the options that I might want to do here. I don't have to choose between Archive and Rainforest, because Rainforest is also Archive. Cat Combat. Another one. Lush Portico. I do have 2 Wrath of the Skies in my hand, too. Like, even just sending one now. Oh, yeah. I'm going to do this. I'm going to fetch for a Hallowed Fountain, play Tune the Narrative, and then mess up their whole business. Miracle to Entreat the Angels with 0 mana. Sad. But if I just flip Terminus, that would be even sicker. Unfortunate. Okay. I think I want to get basic planes to prevent damage. Wrath for 1. That is 4 permanents in the graveyard. If I got the other archive there, I could have set up Counterspell on the following turn, but even without Counterspell, because unless they have like a combo pivot, I don't know what this green-white Ocelot Pride deck is. But unless they have like a combo pivot into like Sam Food or something, I don't think I'm going to need Counterspell next turn. Rosy Cotton of Southland. Okay, so Sam Food is on the table. When this enters, create a food. Whenever you create a token, put a +1 counter on target creature you control other than Rosie. Alright, so this is a 1/1 that brings a food. If I draw an untapped blue source, I'll play that instead of whatever else I was going to do. I can get Tameo in, or I could play to Deuce. Let me look at my top card and decide. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to leave Solitude on top. I can pitch Entreat the Angels to that, and I won't really miss it. And if I do need to remove a creature this turn, that's a good way to do it. Rosie's in for 1. The beats begin. Shocked in, mana number 4. Oh god. I'm going to have to read cards. Whenever you gain life, put a +1 counter on this and scry 1. Okay. You can do that. Voice of the Blessed. Whenever you gain life, put a +1 counter on Voice. As long as Voice has 4 or more counters on it, as Flying and Vig. As long as it's 10 or more, it's indestructible. Okay, that's a 3-drop. These are 2s. Okay, that's in play. Some sort of life gain combo deck. If I draw an untapped land, I just mash all this crap away. I drew a tapped land. So I can kill these 2 things with Wrath. Or I could hold up Counterspell, Solitude, try to survive the turn and Wrath it all for sure next turn. Edge Maze is my land regardless. Another Solitude. How many of these do I want? Creatures seem important to their deck. I will put Solitude on top. So if they bust this food, just making sure I'm not missing some onboard insane loop. Whenever you create a token, put a +1 counter on target creature other than Rosie. Whenever you gain life, put a +1 counter on Voice. Whenever you gain life, put a +1 counter on this. None of these create tokens. When this enters, make a token. Nothing about tokens here. Nothing about tokens here. Okay. I'm just going to pass the turn. There's clearly some combo starting to form. Or maybe it's just a life gain deck built around Ocelot Pride. I don't know. But I assume if you're playing this deck in Modern. Oh, does this? No. Oh, no. I don't want to have to figure this out. Okay, this will be a 3/3 and you scry 1. This will be a 4/4. Or this will be a 3/3. That's 6/7 damage. And you scry 1. Oh, this is when you create a token. God, these words. I hate these words. Okay, so this will be 7 damage. Then they can crack the food and make it 9 damage. I don't think I need to interact with this. Oh, it also doesn't trigger off itself, and they have 1 card left in hand. Did a lot of work there. Walking Ballista. Why? Okay. When you create a token, put a +1 counter on a creature other than Rosie. Okay, so putting counters on Ballista from Rosie is the combo. Counter and token are different words. I'm just trying really hard not to mess this up in real time. With a bunch of cards I've never read in my life. +1 counter on this. Put a +1 counter on this. So this will now be 7 damage in combat. Plus they ping me with Walking Ballista. And they are hellbent. Okay, hope I didn't miss the combo. This resolves. Unless I've just misread one of these cards in some crucial way after reading them 6 times out loud to all of you. I don't see a way to generate more tokens, which seems to be the missing piece of this engine right now. They scry to the bottom. 7 damage coming in. I'm not going to counter any spells this turn, so I might as well see if I flip Terminus here. Oh, right. I knew that was Solitude. I was never going to flip Terminus there, but it was still correct insofar as a play that I knew wouldn't work could be correct. If you forgot you put Solitude on top, then it would have been correct for you to crack Terminus there. Okay, so I'm drawing for turn. It's Brain Surge. I'm going to Wrath for 3. They're going to ping me for 1. They will have no board, and I'll be at 6 life. No board, no hand, I'm at 6. Okay, all that shit's gone. This is exactly the type of matchup that having that blue-white wall of sweepers game plan against is sick. Horizon Canopy immediately cacked it. Ocelot Pride. That is among the best cards you could draw. And then Scoop. They realized the Lonely Cat versus my 7 cards in hand as blue-white wasn't going to do it. All right. Good call. Get Lost. Just more removal seems worth doing here. Force of Negation doesn't seem important. Any stupid deck could have the One Ring in it. But until they show it to me, I'm going to hope that they don't. I could even see Consign to Memory being useful. Walking Ballista is part of their payoff, and it seems like trigger this, trigger that, which triggers this is their payoff. Like if I just need something like Force of Negation out, Consign doesn't seem like the most embarrassing thing. I didn't see a graveyard aspect to their deck, but maybe they are like a Return to the Ranks style, chuck all that stuff into play at once, kill you in one shot kind of deck. I don't know. Until they show me that, I'm going to bring in this Consign to Memory over something like Surgical or leaving in Force. Noxious Revival actually plays if they are that deck. Oh no. 2 Terminus in my hand. If I could get to the point where my brain is surging, this is really good. I'm just going to keep. Let's party. They mull to 6. Plains Cat. All these lands come into play tapped that could cast Spell Snare. Oh, the Noxious Revival. Sad. Well, I don't want that right now. I had hopes for it in this matchup, though. Maybe I'll revive that Revival later with my other Revival so I can use this one on their graveyard combo that may or may not be in their deck. Soul Warden. They're beginning to build out their squad. I will have Counterspell up next turn, which will bridge me into Brain Surge, which hopefully will get me into Terminus. Okay, now if I don't have to counter a spell, I can deduce. Fetching in the end step. We've seen Surveil lands in the deck already. Lush Portico confirmed. Banning Iganjo Castle, so they're looking for spells here. They've got the mana that they think they need. A 2-drop. I can't wait. Spell Snare. Okay, I take 3 here. and they make another cat in the end step, which gains another life. And just drawing Ratha's guys here is nuts. Tune the narrative. Okay. That lets me set up a Terminus that I could flip on their turn. Like, I just need to not have to counterspell this turn. If I can Brain Surge this turn at 12 life and set up Tune the Narrative to obliterate their squad on their own turn, that's a game plan. Okay, they're in for 4. I'm at 12. End step, Brain Surge. Look at all these lands. I guess I have to put 2 back. So we just put the Terminus there. There's nothing clever to do about instant speed, except I have 2 Terminuses, which means I can actually I can Miracle this one, and then Tune the Narrative on their turn, and Miracle the second one, and mop out whatever their second wave is, because they know they're playing against a deck that does this. Yeah, all right, pass the turn. Second Terminus ready to go. Heliod Suncrowned. That's not a creature. Guess I'll counterspell that. Was I supposed to play a fetch land just in case they didn't play out creatures? I guess so. And I'm approaching 6 mana at this point that... Oh, wow. All right, I'm glad I cantripped. I'm approaching 6 mana at this point that just represents Hardcast Terminus. And I cantripped in the main phase in case I drew something Sorcery Speed I wanted to do. Heliod to the bottom. That is a card I'm not ready to deal with right now. Jace resolved on a stable board versus green-white. This is what I want in life. Asking Broodscale. Okay, that is another... Okay, we see the combo now. When this gets a +1 counter, it makes a spawn, and that goes off with that Hobbit we saw. Because she puts a counter on this, that makes infinite homies. This is just the Pauper deck, but in real life. Okay, I can brainstorm, try to find a counter spell, or I could keep plussing them and race to the finish line. I'm going to brainstorm. I have Deduce in my hand. I could put Terminus on top, and then we're just off. And I found a counter spell. Okay, put back Misty and Terminus. Play the other Misty. I can Terminus at will. I might even let Jace take 3 here to get them lulled into a false sense of security. I can Deduce, Terminus, and Counterspell. We are fully driving right now. Oh, they're going face. Interesting. Okay, I'm not blocking. Putting me to 8. Okay, I'll just take the damage. Another Brood Scale. Taking the damage was worth it. Worth the squeeze. I am going to Deduce now. Get the flip. I could have just gone to my turn, but I'd like to start working through these cards I don't want. Your life total and your Planeswalker loyalty are both resources here. Taking this 3 on Jace or on face, both convince them to play out another card. Then we got some extra value. That was a beautiful execution of Blue-White Miracles. On to the next round.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/TheResleevables.
I'm on the play in round 3 with a full house, punished by the tech land. I think I still keep this though. There's just a lot of 1 mana cards to play. I know the donor of this deck worked really hard on it and actually did do the work and play a bunch of matches and has like real consideration about all the cards that are included. But I do wonder, the games where Castle Vantress pops off, are they worth more than the games where it's your only blue source in your starting hand and your hand happens to have 5 cards that cost a single blue in it? I don't know. Like, this is my 3rd match with the deck. What do I know? Amulet of Vigor. We're pretty bad against this deck. I'm going to be honest. I could tune, and if I hit a land island, I can also play Tamiyo. Or I could play Tamiyo and just wait. All right, I'm going to play Tamiyo and Plains. I'll wait. I don't think poker even has a word for having 2-3 of the kinds in your hand. The dealer doesn't even know how to score that. I think in the Old West you get shot for that hand, though. fairly confident. We might just lose here. Now, this sideboard, when we worked on it together, had some subtleties in it, but they were more for Teferi than they were for Primeval Titan. And that card is very good against Primeval Titan. I haven't played versus Amulet yet in the modern format with Consigned to Memory legal. Like, this might actually just be insane. But we are not well set up for this game one. Azusa. And just floating a Terminus is also pretty good against this deck if you can set one up. But it looks like there's a good chance we are just going to lose. They have 2 more mana this turn. Still coming for a total of 4. They can tutor another Amulet next turn, if there is a next turn. The One Ring, yep. This card is also played in this deck, of course. That's not new. It's well established that that's a thing that this deck does. Well, I can flip Tamiyo, if that matters. I'll get a clue. Tune the narrative. There's a Wrath. Oh, I could Wrath away the Urza Saga. And my clue. Do I think that's better than maybe Wrathing away everything? Oh, I can Wrath. No, I can't get Azusa. Shit. Yeah, the Tune the narrative almost did what it was supposed to do here. I can Wrath away Saga and Amulet, though. Then they have no Amulet going into the next turn. This kills Tamiyo. And my clue. I have more Tamiyos, so I'm not really worried about that. This was such a big draw. I think I do have to actually sweep up the things I can sweep up. Wrath for 1. Okay. Pretty awkward that they've already resolved the One Ring on this board, but hopefully that set them back a lot. Just 7 cards in hand. I've heard conspiracy theories online that Wizards might have a deal with the Tolkien estate that they can't ban the One Ring, or it has to be legal for some number of years. And, you know, I don't generally buy into conspiracies, but that sounds reasonable based on why else would it still be here. Their 3rd land for the turn, picked up Hedge Maze, Misty Rainforest. I can play and flip Tamiyo this turn. I'm going to start with a Tune. Found Solitude. That's good versus Primeval Titan. I'm going to get a basic island, play Tamiyo, and then play the other Tune, and hope I draw a white card. Did not draw a white card. This does stop the Azusa beats, though. Cold in their tracks. I actually gain life if Arboreal Grazer attacks. -1 power. That's not a real magic roll. Don't freak out. I'm making content here. They activated their ring. We are approaching the point in the game where Castle Vantress being activated might start mattering, but also this Azusa would have been dead to the Wrath of the Skies if this was basic island, or I would have had Tamiyo flipped already where it wouldn't have died to my own Wrath. So, little push and pull already, if we're talking about slot selection for this deck. Tamiyo can buy Wrath of the Skies back this turn if I just desperately need a white card for Solitude, but I also have 5 mana, which is how Solitude works. Gruul Turf picked up Hedge Maze again. They still have a land drop. There's the Hedge Maze back, and it kept the card. Scary. Spell Snare. I'm going to plus Tamiyo. I think just having her in play is better than having Wrath of the Skies in my hand. The Hardcast Solitude is my plan versus Primeval Titan. Another 4 cards drawn. 11 cards in hand. Uh-oh. They found the other amulet, and I haven't drawn a counterspell yet. They still have all 3 of their land drops. There's 1. Make more amulets. Yep. I mean, the Wrath of the Skies is on board, though. The minus Tamiyo pick up Wrath you. So they can't really take a past the turn line here. And I guess, or if they're not thinking about that, they might try to set up a pass line where they like tutor for Cavern of Souls this turn or something. But with double amulet, 9 cards in hand, they could probably tutor for Cavern and still play the prime time all at once. It just sucks really hard to be behind on a resolved One Ring, especially versus decks that can ramp it out. This is 2 out of 3 matchups we've played where this has been the play pattern. And if this opponent just didn't have One Ring in play, I would feel so insane in this game, like we're really doing it. But this one card just kind of invalidates 1-for-1 strategies completely in the format. I'm not going to spiral out into this card should be banned meltdown. I just, I'm pretty tired of playing against it, if I'm being honest. Okay, here's the Simic Growth Chamber. We did not know about that one. It's good for 4 mana. That is the first land they've played this turn. It's back. Second land, 8 mana. Yeah, Consigned Memory is insane versus Amulet. They have the One Ring, and then the primetime trigger is really important to them. I hadn't considered about that intersection yet. I just haven't played against the deck since MH3 came out. It's pretty exciting. Okay, here is the Primeval Titan. I'm not going to act yet. I have to hope that they target it with some haste enabling land or something, and then I clip it in combat. They have plenty of mana and cards in hand to just play another Primeval Titan here. They don't have a Dryad of the Elysian Grove yet, which means I'm not getting Valakutted here. Oh, well, they got 2 Valakuts anyway. So a Pathway 2 Dryad, it must be their game plan. They could float a bunch of red. 6 mana in the pool, and still 6 mana represented. Okay, there's the Dryad. You're in there. This is the card I have to kill. Okay, so this is the last land drop they have. Or no, they just played a Dryad. But if I kill Dryad, they won't get another land drop. They are going face. I'm going to fetch a basic island and cast Solitude on the Dryad. And that is all the interaction I have for my life. They will be out of land drops, but still have a ton of mana in the pool here. F6. I've done what I can do. They untap all this growth chamber. They pick up a land. These Valakut triggers fizzle. And then they continue play with the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 mana they still have. Cultivator Colossus. How many lands are coming? I can actually Wrath of the Skies away a Cultivator Colossus. I have 7 energy. But it doesn't look like I'm getting another turn. It just the number of amulet triggers on the stack does not bode well for me. I must say. I dare say. And it's a bunch of Garbo. There's 2 Bosages here. They have to get rid of one of those before anything else happens. The Growth Chambers will pick up Teleria West, which can tutor. I'm going to make them do it because I want to see how Amulet actually works and wins. I assume that they can tutor for whatever and just win here. Yeah, the Teleria West can get Summoner's Pact, which can get Dryad, which can then make at least 1 more land drop. They also just drew this many cards. I'd love to just scoop here and move on with my day, but if they mess up or if their hand somehow doesn't do what they needed to here or whatever, if I get a turn, I actually stabilize, which is just crazy given what's going on. Another Amulet just deployed. We got 3 of those now. In real life, by the way, you should have 100% conceded this game by now. On a shared clock, when you're a blue-white deck, you should be trying to get games over with as quickly as possible, even if that means conceding. But on the shared clock, or on the chess clock, it's literally the opposite. Okay, Primetime just got Battlements, which, because of 500 amulets, can give both Primetimes and the Cultivator Colossus all trample. And haste. Or they come with trample. It gives them haste. What does this actually do? Haste. Yeah, okay. Tamu's going to shrink these things, though. Scoreboard. Solitude gains 3 life. So I have 6 more life than it actually appears that I do. Triggers on the stack. Tamio, shrink those jerks. This is 23. I'm blocking 2 of it and gaining 3. Still dead. Decline the primetime triggers. That was the correct call. Okay. Consigned to memory. We determined that's good. Worm's Chant is an interesting object here. You can let them do the whole haste thing and then kick it. Maybe. I'll think about it. Narset's good against the One Ring. Damping Sphere, historically phenomenal versus this deck. Turns all their bounce lands into garbage. Wrath of the Skies was really good. Setting up Terminus is nice. Spell Snare. No targets anywhere? It's not looking good. It doesn't look good for Noxious Revival either. This game is just not about grinding. Sorry, Noxious Revival. I'm in serious beat Amulet mode right now. Timeless Dragon, one of the Entreats. Jace and Wandering Emperor both play. Solitude's great. I don't want to play Force of Negation in large numbers, and I'm bringing in 6 other answers to the ring. Yeah, I actually don't want Force of Negation at all. So it doesn't counter Primetime. I don't really want to force an Amulet in my deck with a bunch of Wraths that can kill it. I do like tuning the narrative to get my Wrath up higher. Get Lost can destroy Urza's Saga or Primeval Titan. Yeah, I probably have to play Get Lost. It's probably better than Ormschant, but are there cards that are worse? Terminus is only good if I set it up, because they're not really going to pass into that. I'll leave a couple in, but I don't need the full boat. Do I shave a Deduce here, or do I cut the Ormschant? I'm so enamored with the idea of Ormschant. I could cut a Tameo, I guess. Okay. I'm going to try this. 11 cards coming in, which feels right based on how game 1 went. Oh, I love this. I will keep this, and turn 2 Damping Sphere hopefully will damp their sphere, and then Solitude and Wrath are 2 of my other follow-up good cards that my deck plays. I can lead on the Meticulous Archive, which sets up the Castle Vantress. Castle Garenbrig. Would you like to spend 4 mana to get 1 colorless mana? Because I can arrange that for you. Meticulous Archive. Lorien Revealed. Yeah, I'll keep that. If I flood out, it's Ancestral Recall. If I don't flood out, it's my 4th land. As I read Lorien Revealed to you. Did you know what that card does? Because those are the 2 things it does. And if they Beseiju me, which is something that might happen to clear the Damping Sphere, that gets me to Lorien faster. Consign to Memory and Counterspell. I could just Wrath for 0 now, or I could let them play out, because Wrath for 0 also kills an Urza Saga and everything that came out of it later. They don't have to fear Saga Gaming. I think it's time to cycle Lorien. We didn't get there. And I'm going to get a basic so I can hold up Counterspell after Wrathing for 0. Oh, that's really good. It's not as good. It would have been better last turn. Island and Wrath for 0. Urza Saga's gone. Counterspell's still up. Crumbling Vestige makes a mana here. Dryad of the Elysian Grove. I'm going to let that resolve because I'm not that scared of the lands, and I'm extremely scared of the One Ring. Meticulous Archive. Narset. How would I feel about Narset? I think I like it. If I get lost the Dryad, the constructs get bigger. If I get lost the Urza Saga, the Dryad can start getting bigger and beat on its own. If I get lost the Saga now, I'm holding up Counterspell on their turn, and I can Solitude this Dryad at some point. You get 2 maps. Off you go. Their sequencing was good last turn, because if they played Saga first, I would have countered the Dryad. They're getting their first colorless land into play. And Crumbling Vestige makes another mana. Okay, I'm obviously countering this. Do I want to counterspell it or consign it to memory? This consign can do something like counter a Primeval Titan trigger later, but counterspell can counter the Primeval Titan if they don't have Cavern of Souls, which they haven't revealed to me yet. Okay, here's Narset. I'm going to pass this turn. This is the turn I want to clear the Dryad with Solitude, and then I'll jam Narset and have Counterspell up for the rest of the game after that. Expedition map. Alright, if they tutor for Cavern of Souls here, I might have gotten got. Hopefully they just get another Urza Saga. The map has happened, and they did get another Saga. Saga's in. If they start busting map tokens, I'm going to light up the Dryad. I'm going to do it now before the first one even happens. I could let this one go, then they activate another one, but this is not a deck I really want drawing extra lands. That creature does not explore because it doesn't exist. Now we turn it around. Narset. And Narset digs through time over the next 2 turns for Wrath of the Skies, which is the card that I think solidifies this Urza Saga plan is not a real plan. Jace and 3 lands are what I saw off that Narset. Attack with Solitude. If they have been sandbagging this whole time, Cavern plus Primetime, they might make a game out of this. They still don't have an Amulet, so the Primetime isn't going to win on the spot, but that would be a really good thing to have hidden from me for this long. 3 in the pool. Colossal Sky Turtle rebuying Urza Saga. Cool trick. Alright, so they are committed to Saga Gaming. I'm going to deduce in the end step if they don't make me counter anything. We're just looking for a Wrath of the Skies to be on our merry way. Activate Narset. Found another Narset and a Counterspell. I already have a Counterspell, but I do want to dig even harder for the Wrath. Keep the new Narset. Dig. Wandering Emperor, tune the narrative. I have 2 Terminuses still in the deck. Wandering Emperor can actually deal with a Construct token. I will take that. Phase. Brain Surge. That's a lot of cards. I will put Brain Surge on top. And I'm actually going to hold back Solitude here. I might want to block with it. Keeping Narset around sounds reasonable to do. It's cool that a blue-white control deck can just be super live versus the 4th Urza Saga like this, because normally that's the shit that just kills you. Grabbed an Amulet. I will block if this attacks Narset. Block. I'm going to crack my Clue in the end step, not cast Deduce, because the Clue will die to the Wrath. This is the Brain Surge. Terminus is a good flip. Wrath is the nuts flip. Solitude. All right, Narset. Brain Surge, tune the narrative. Okay. We've worked really hard to get this far. And in the end, it doesn't even matter. How do I want to play this? I'm probably taking tune the narrative. Though if I Brain Surge into a Wrath, I have enough mana to do both. Okay, I'm going to Brain Surge. And we found the Wrath. Put Terminus on top. I'm going to tap out this turn. So I want Terminus and Tune in that order. Then I'm going to Wrath. I'd rather Wrath for 1, though, to take the Amulet with me. Bummer. And I just stacked it wrong to Terminus this turn. Yeah, I think I was supposed to set up the Tune the Narrative this turn, and then the Wrath next turn. I got too excited. Yeah, this is the flip side of playing these decks. They're really hard, and you have to be near perfect. Okay, I am gonna Wrath for 0. Take out the Saga, the map, and all the constructs. Okay, they just conceded to that. Great. Their hand must be bad. To the next game we go. I still like the sideboard plan. I didn't see anything that would really talk me out of it. The Colossal Sky Turtle, I'm not going to bring it in Surgical Extraction just for that. The Orange Chant is still the biggest maybe. Whatever, let's go. I like it. I like the idea of blowing out a combat-based combo deck with the kicker on Orange Chant. All of those words in that order make me very happy. Seiju, Grazer. If this Grazer makes a Saga, that might be hard to come back from. That's the thing that puts us under the most pressure immediately, but if they are... Yep, Saga. If they had just played a normal land there, Consign to Memory holds the fort a lot. I could consign the Construct button, but then they might just cast the One Ring. Alright, I'm gonna commit to dealing with the Constructs fair and square. Sweet. They will not be making the first Construct here. They're on that Amulet hunt. I'm going to get Meticulous Archive and hope that the top of my deck is Damping Sphere. Counterspell. I do like that card. I'll keep it. Okay, I drew the Counterspell. I'm going to play Flooded Strands so I can play this card that I just drew. If they do something Consign to Memory related, and I could even consign this Search Trigger and deny them an Amulet. Maybe that's sick. Yeah, I actually think denying them an Amulet here is probably better than holding up. I mean, if they stick a One Ring on this turn, I'm going to feel silly, but denying them Amulet is nice. Yeah, of course. And I deserve that. Maybe I got too clever. I do have Narset in the deck now that can tangle with that. Yeah, that was probably just real bad. And I don't need another Brain Surge here. Island can cast the Brain Surge I already have. Yeah, I like that. I like trying to keep up with this One Ring somehow, and the answer to that is find Narset. Beginning and end of list. And then they get an Amulet anyway. At this point, this is not my worry. Yeah, that was just a study in Magic theory, in bad Magic theory, making the wrong decision, where it's, if they don't have this card I'm most worried about, stopping them from getting an Amulet is great. But if they do have the card I'm most worried about, I'm very dead. And how good is the success case versus how bad is the fail case? And the answer that I found is that the fail case is way worse. Okay, I could cycle Lorien Revealed to shuffle. I'm going to put back Hedge Maze and Hallowed Fountain. Or Hedge Maze Otawara. Otawara can bounce the ring eventually. All right, I'm going to put back Hedge Maze Hallowed Fountain. I'm going to go to my turn, draw, shock in Hallowed Fountain. And my plan is bounce the ring this turn, stabilize next turn. Okay, they drew a bunch of cards with the ring, as you do. Azusa Lost But Seeking. I don't really want them to have this, but if I counter it, then My plan to bounce the ring doesn't work. I'll just counter it. And then I'll cycle or reveal in the end step, or I'll just draw a hedge maze at this point. Yeah, I guess I just draw the hedge maze. And if they tried to wiggle through a double spell here, I actually do have double counter. Counter spell, also that. This would feel better if they hadn't already drawn 6 cards off their ring, which is completely my fault. They discarded Gruul Turf and Summoner's Pact. Now I can't even counter the ring if they replay it. I kind of need them to have it in play. The Emperor, oh no. This feels like the kind of card that would trick me into thinking it's good when it's not. I have Chant and Tune. I can end up with this card and the card under it. All right, I'll keep it on top. I've been tricked successfully. Just chanting them in their upkeep was also an option there. Just make them go through a turn of ring stuff. I could do it now. Yeah, that actually sounds dope. Target you with Orm's Chant. You don't get more spells this turn. You can resolve your ring, take 4 from it, discard a bunch of cards to hand size. The best thing they can do this turn is play Urza Saga from here. Mirror Pool. I have to read this one. Copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. Copy target creature you control. Okay. Both of those require them to do stuff, which they haven't done in a while. Tune the Narrative draws Wandering Emperor. And let's see if I can find some action. They discard 4 cards to hand size right now. That Orm's Chant actually felt really good. Maybe even better than tricking them into thinking they can do stuff. Now they're discarding Primeval Titans. That's scary. I am going to play Otawara. The world where I bounce this ring and counter it is gone. Now I want to remove Primeval Titans or kill them once they resolve, counter their trigger, all of which are things I can do. They're at 10 and the ring's on 4. I don't think I can reasonably outmaneuver a ring. So they just have to ram this thing. I'm going to let it resolve and then counter it. Counter the trigger. If I knew that's all they were going to do, I would have felt better casting Lorien Revealed. Maybe that's just a play pattern issue. We're not knowing Amulet that well right now. And they did decide to tap the ring. A end step. I'm going to Solitude. Giving them 6 life here is kind of like giving them another turn to play the game, but I can't let Primeval Titan be in play, and I don't really want it to trigger either. Discard another 4 cards. Yo! Okay. Hero mode here is I cast Lorien Revealed, draw a land, and play the Damping Sphere. I'm not a hero, though. Attack you with these. You're at 13. Damping Sphere, leave up Wandering Emperor. Pass. That was a good thing to find at exactly this time. That cuts off a third of their mana. Makes Primeval Titan a lot worse. Makes it hard for them to cast multiple spells. And mana is their squeeze right now, not cards in hand. So this is nice that I get to squeeze kind of both. All right, they played a untapped source of colorless mana. A second amulet. And they're shipping it. I think I should just get the Wandering Emperor down here. All right, they're drawing. They changed their mind. They started to pass the turn, then they're like, no, I'm going to go up to 6. Which is actually an important decision because they can't play another ring. And now Wandering Emperor is lethal. Boom, poop out a 2/2, dead for Xaxes. And of course they could just like have cards, but them going to 6 here with a ring on 6 is a big deal. Discarding 5 cards in the end step. This ring has almost discarded as many cards as it's drawn. That's one way to beat it. Okay, I'm going to attack with my creatures and see if they have a trick remaining. They're going to 5. I'm casting Lorien Revealed. I'm going to fetch first, though. Get basic island. Cast Lorien. There's plenty of 1 and 2 mana cards I'd be happy to draw here. That's none of them. Make another 2/2. Pass the turn. Hope I'm not dead. Okay. What's the trick? All right, just die to your ring is the trick. Sweet. That was a really weird game. I definitely messed up that early turn where I let them have the ring. But then our deck just ground through it. I suspect that Orm's Chant turn was actually sick. I mean, when Orm's Chant is also Lava Axe, I could definitely see the upside. That was a lot of fun. On to the next one.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
I'm on the draw in round 4 versus a Jeggy, which generally means energy these days. There's a number of things it could be, but Mardu Energy is the most common one. Right, Ragavan. That's a card in the format. Entreat the Angels. No! That's almost something I wanted. Like, flipping Terminus next turn would actually be sick. And luckily that was the first draw step of the game, so my opponent doesn't know if I just play with my draw step stop on or what. Okay, they exiled Meticulous Archive. I'm letting Rag hit me because it's more important for me to select the card I draw than to select the card they steal with Rag. Guide of Souls. Plains. Ocelot Pride. Oh yeah, the full spread. It's time to surveil into a Terminus. Meticulous Archive, show me Terminus. Wandering Emperor, way too slow. Terminus? Not a Terminus. Okay. I'm going to play my island with the intent of deducing. Because now with Island Plains, Deduce gets another look. Wrath for 1 is live. Definitely need a sweeper. Having both Entreats this early is the stains. I am ready to force a negation of 1 ring, though. I'm actually ready. For the first time in the league. It won't just resolve and run amok. However, the creatures they have in play are already kind of running amok. Ragavan gets a trigger. Stole a Mystic Gate. You can have that. Ragavan has functionally scryed 2 for me this game. Stomping Ground. Ooh. Or Naya Energy. Malevolent Rumble. They're rumbling. Goblin Bombardment is a legal permanent they can select here. And they did. I'm going to force that for sure. That's not a card I can beat. They decided not to cast it into Counterspell. Come on, Wrath. I drew Counterspell. All right. Well, they played around Counterspell and into Counterspell. But I am very close to dead to the board. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm at 3 on board right now. Come on, Terminus or Wrath of the Skies. Lorien revealed. Oh, pain. All right, well, I can set up Brain Surge this turn. If I survive, I can stabilize at 3. It could happen. Today is the day where I make my stand. Arena of Glory. Well, any creature kills me here. Anyone at all. Goblin Bombardment. Well, and I'm countering that. Pitching Lorien revealed. And I have 1 miracle out. If they do just give a creature haste here with Arena of Glory, I can crack my clue and flip Terminus. It's there. They have exerted the arena. Okay, a Johnny adds 1 damage to the board. This is when a cat dies. Yeah, when a cat dies. Not when an Eldrazi spawn dies. So this could stabilize me at 2 instead of 3. So let me just count again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'd be at 2, which is not a great number to be at. But Johnny resolves. They also still have a red haste mana floating, so the last card in their hand is another creature that's not Ragavan. They can just keep the party going. And they are spending mana. Oh, they grab Jeggy. That's good news. Okay, so I'm going to let them attack. I'm going to Brain Surge. And then hope I'm still alive next turn. Putting counters on the Eldrazi spawn. That works. I go to 2. 2 life. Ragavan gets a flip. Please don't flip my Terminus. I need it now. Flip Misty Rainforest. Didn't want that one. Ragavan has scryed 3 for me this game. End step. Miracle. Brain Surge. Find the Terminus. No! No Terminus, no Wrath of the Skies, nothing in all these cards I've seen. Ah! Sad. Okay. I looked at 20 cards and missed a 6-outer. Also, that was just, the worst hand. Keeping him fast and loose around here. Celestial Purge answers Ragavan, and the backside of a Johnny, if those things matter. Get Lost can take some early pressure off. Usually these are ring decks. Like this is a matchup where flipping an early and Entreat is really good. I think Get Lost is a lot better than Celestial Purge, but I might want both. Orm's Chant, just fogging a combat, is not bad. Force Negation is answers to Goblin Bombardment out of the deck. Purge answers Bombardment. Okay. I think going -1 Entreat is reasonable. Spell Snare is really good here. Brain Surge was my last chance to be a hero that game. I'm going to cut the Timeless Dragon. Okay, let's go. Okay, Terminus, but no way to set it up in the opener. Spell Snare is reasonable. I can just Solitude a early Ragavan. I think this hand is asking too much. I'm going to mulligan. This hand... So this is worse in a lot of ways, but also better in a bunch of ways. A Wrath of the Skies is better than Terminus. I can put the Terminus to the bottom, or I can put Orm's Chant to the bottom and use this Terminus to pitch to Solitude. Tune the Narrative charges the Wrath. Obviously, this has its risks, but I don't think this is as bad as the first hand we saw. And I am going to bottom Chant and use Terminus as my pitch. There's not that many Brainstorms in this format, and they cost a lot of mana. Tameo. I just have to get rid of anything that's not a land. Got a Plains and a Guide of Souls. I'm not going to zap off on that immediately. Okay. I'm going to tune the narrative here and see if I can find a white source instead of playing this island. Cool. Rewarded. Now I can Spell Snare, and if I don't have to Spell Snare, I can fetch Meticulous Archive. Even cantrips that only see one card do have sequencing applications. They are fetching. Sacred Foundry. Ocelot Pride. Can't Spell Snare that anyway. You got me. Okay, they're on the full send versus Wrath of the Skies. I'm actually going to fetch now before we go to the end step and see if there's a white source on top of my deck. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, you can have your tokens. Carry on. And now I can fetch basic Plains and Wrath for 1 while leaving up Spell Snare. Doing the narrative, Dark Ritual on layaway. Sweep them out. We haven't won. They still have 5 cards in hand. They have more cards in hand than me. Malevolent Rumble. I don't think I Spell Snare that. Okay, Guide of Souls, Static Prison, Amtraptor. If they grab Amtraptor here, and they did. All right, perfect. We managed to counter 2 spells instead of 1. Tameo, happy to see you. Just happy to see anything that does anything, honestly. Opponent just realized they're playing against me and asked if they'd be on TV. When I said yes, they said, I hope people like my brew. So everyone compliment just Alice. This deck is cool. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen Naya Energy before. Here's Guide of Souls. Brain Surge is a great draw if I can find one. Land number 5 for Solitude's also pretty good. Galvanic Discharge. All right. Smell you never. Hopefully this ends up being a good Solitude turn. If they attack with both creatures, they'll probably gas up the Guide of Souls, not the Amtraptor. Does this target? It does. So I can see who they're targeting with this before I play Solitude. It is targeting itself. No surprise there. I'll just wipe it out. I'm more worried about Guide of Souls than I am Amtraptor as a magic card on its own. Amtraptor has First Strike, which can brick the Solitude. But this is the engine. This is also the payout. Okay, that ability fizzles. Oh, wait. When you attack... Oh, I just didn't even let it resolve. I just... I thought it already targeted itself. Does that work in 2 steps? Is that how this works? Whenever you attack, you may pay 3. When you do... Okay, so I should have waited for them to pay the 3 energy. Important lesson learned. Then Flage kills my Solitude. Yep, that was just a bleed. Those happen sometimes. Okay. I'm gonna deduce now, because I could still crack the clue on their turn for a surprise miracle. But if I find something sorcery speed, I want access to it. Or, like a land drop, which is what I did find. Okay, I'm taking 4 from this. I have Counterspell in my hand. If they play a creature, I'll just hardcast Terminus, but now I can counter a One Ring if they actually play that card. Oh, no, 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 no. Even at 8 life with 1 creature in play, no. Hard pass. Brain Surge. Ooh. You want to tempt me like this? Do I want to go to 4 to set up Terminus? I have a bunch of ways to draw 1 card in my deck. I'm going to Brain Surge. You can't stop me. Ooh. I could put Terminus 2 back. Hit my land drop. Noxious Revival, finally. In the game. That can get back Solitude. Or Brain Surge. Dashing Ragavan. Frustrating. Okay, so The haste creature is actually really bad. But I am more worried about Ragavan than I am Ampdraptor. Being at 4, pretty dangerous. Top of my deck is Orm's Chant. I could make the top of my deck Solitude. I think I want to do that. And I even have the one of Green Source around for the good times. Answering this creature and then maybe gaining some life back. It's a good way to spend my turn. They do get to see it coming, unfortunately, but I'm still going to do it. It's still a good card. Slurp that out. They go to 27. I'm at 4. Aether Hub, uh-oh. If they deploy the One Ring this turn, that's going to suck so bad. They made energy, or they used energy, which they don't have to do if they're casting the One Ring. Oh, they're casting Flage, putting me to 1. Yeah, that's really good. Or they could kill Solitude, which is kind of the same thing, because I could just attack into Flage and gain this life back. And going face means I can't fetch, but I wasn't going to anyway. Okay, attack with Solitude, and then I'm going to kick Orb's Chant in their upkeep. Kind of want them to put more cards into play, though, but not if they're spells. I'll see if they cast another creature, because I have to flip this Terminus. Do they just, like, Lightning Bolt me? That's bad. Goblin Bombardment. Shit. Well, that's bad, too. I should have gone in the upkeep. Every little edge that I've tried to get has just been punished immediately. All right. Yeah, that was bad. And not only was that bad in terms of now Goblin Bombardment's in play, it's specifically bad against Flage because now... Okay, they're discharging my Solitude. Because now they can just replay Flage from the graveyard next turn, and I'm dead exactly. Which means Terminus doesn't actually even solve the case anymore. Sad. Alright. I will, I guess, hope that they just miss. They just mess up, and I'm going to cast Terminus. That's all I can do. But I am exactly in the wrong spot. Tried to play around one thing. The Haste Ragavan cost me some extra life. Tried to play around another thing. Or maybe just got greedy. Maybe got greedy is the right way to say that. And no cards in my hand. GG's. On to the final round. I'm on the draw in the final round. Positive record on the line. We're playing against a Jeggy deck, and I have Wrath of the Skies in my opening grip. Although Terminus and Jace are pretty bad, the Wrath, I feel, is strong enough to keep on the strength of. Just by itself. Oh, Tune the Narrative makes it even better. Let's go. Elegant Parlor. Tapped. Spinning Fable. I don't think Fable is traditionally in energy. So we might be up against something else here. But still energy. Okay, yeah, I don't know. No information to work with. Johnny, alright. So this stuff is still happening. I'm going to play Meticulous Archive tapped first. I don't believe I want an Ottawara here. And I can Wrath for 3 next turn, but they don't know that. If they can kill a cat this turn, sorry, there's no nice way to say that. If a cat can die this turn and they can flip into a Planeswalker, that might be a difficult permanent for me to answer. But if these are all creatures, or if they add more creatures to the board next turn, that's great for me. This is great too. The Tune the Narrative means I get to remove the Fable along with everything else that's about to lose here. Okay, the Narrative is tuned, and I'm going to Wrath for 3. Zoop. There goes a lot of permanents. Okay, that's what I kept on the strength of. We now have the same resources in play, and I have more cards in hand than them. Can I stick Jace onto a clean board this turn? Can I find another Wrath to catch up? Can I flip a Terminus? These are all things I'd like to do in the near future. Flage. Just kind of a body. It is ready to jump out of the graveyard starting next turn, and okay. We're not on a clear board anyway, because they did gain life this turn. Let's see what we got. I believe I want to... I can Jace, Brainstorm. The Flage kills Jace, but I've gotten a lot of card selection out of the deal. Oh, I can set up Terminus with the Brainstorm. Yeah, that actually rules. Okay, I'm going to fetch Basic Island, play Jace. This is a sad use of Jace, but at the same time, put back Entreat, put back Terminus, flip on the next 2 turns, turn the whole game around. If they have Arena of Glory, I am actually just dead. If they cast this Flage normal, I think I'm okay. Okay, they jammed their 4 mana and then slowly untapped all of it. They're going face with this attack. I wonder if they read this as Terminus and they're sandbagging, which would be a great play. Or if they just figure, let me get my combat through. Raptor. Okay, good chance that they've read this as Terminus. They flipped a Flage anyway. Great. And they do have the mana to cast, or the energy to cast it. Okay, Jace is dead. Long live Jace. It is still my intention to flip Terminus this turn. Oh, we're amping again. Lightning Bolt. Chill. Okay. I'm at 8. You get a cat. 1 card in hand, Flage in the graveyard. The world's most obvious Terminus. I flip that on you. I know my top card is Entreat right now. I could tune the narrative on their turn and get a 4/4, but that doesn't matter to me. If I shock in Hallowed Fountain to cast the Wandering Emperor, I lose anyway. If they have Arena of Glory, because I am going to be at 6. All right, I'm just going to pass. And I might end up cycling Timeless Dragon this turn, because Entreat just doesn't beat Flage. Or does it? So I go to 2. I can make 3 Big O's. And I'm holding up Force for like a Lightning Bolt kind of thing. All right. I'm not extremely happy with this, but it's happening. Okay. Here's these. Edge Maze. Force of Negation. Don't need another one of those. And now I can be put to 2. I could force a Lightning Bolt. I could force a Goblin Bombardment. And here I have to decide if I want to double block Flage or chump block and then exile it and gain 2 life. I guess I just block with everything. This does get the other Flage 2 cards instead of 1. They have 3 cards in their hand. Oh my god, the 3rd Flage. Yep, can't interact with that. Okay, so we got some gnarly RNG off of the Amped Raptors, but, 3 copies of Flage is what it is. Force of Negation sucks. Okay. The Celestial Purge, pretty good against Flage. Orm's Chant, welcome back. Get Lost is a maybe. I think I'm going to shave 1 Revival, 1 Entreat with the Forces, and bring in a bunch of white removal. And that will be my plan. It may or may not have the One Ring. I have my counter spells in for that, but I'm not bringing in all the consigns and everything. Force of Negation is a very different Magic card than Force of Will. People talk about the modern power level starting to approach Legacy as more and more Horizon sets are printed, and then Legacy picks up more Horizons cards that get played, and like, oh, these are just the same format. They're really not. They're very different in some very important ways. I am going to keep this hand because I love drawing cards. I need to find a sweeper, but we're chilling. I have Spell Snare. Spell Snare, 2 cantrips, 4 lands. Has there ever been a more BoshNRoll hand than this? I guess Deduce would have to be Ponder for this to really qualify, but guess what? They banned it. Cowards, give it back. Misty Rainforest, pass. The Hub. If they have a card that costs color, that is all of the mana they get from that. I think I'm actually going to fetch Meticulous Archive here rather than tuning the narrative. It's just a good spot to get that through. Another Spell Snare. Maybe risky, maybe rules. I'll take it. And now I can deduce if they do nothing. I could Spell Snare and tune. If they cast a 2, I could Spell Snare and get my other Meticulous Archive. It's another option. All right, I'm just going to deduce. Do I want a Plains? No, I have so many blue spells to cast here. Deduce, found a Wrath. Now I have a plan, but opponent is playing slow, playing smart. I'm going to play this Archive and keep Solitude on top. Cool. That's a good find. If they fart around too long with this Guide of Souls, then Solitude will stabilize on its own. Like, they can't just one-shot me for the whole game. I'm going to bust my clue here. Brain Surge. We like that one. Okay, you're up. How long do you think this is going to hold? My next land is a huge blowout. They may also just be stuck. Okay. They are zapping their own Guide of Souls just for the energy to make this a more threatening creature. Or to just turn on the other colors in their deck. Oscillate Pride. Yeah, I'm holding Wrath, so this card could definitely resolve. And I will... Oh, they didn't attack. I'm going to Brain Surge in the end step. Or I'm going to let this resolve, then I'm going to Brain Surge in the end step. in case I hit Terminus. Did not hit Terminus. Don't need... What do I not need here? Timeless Dragon actually is a reasonable body. How many narratives do I need to tune at this point? I definitely need the land, unfortunately. Put back one of the tunes. Purge, Solitude all look really good. Timeless Dragon just arriving as a 5/5 is pretty good in this situation. I could put the land back and then just draw a card and not shuffle. That sounds like a big waste of energy, though. Both actual energy and Magic the Gathering energy. I'm going to put back a Spell Snare. Kind of hurts to lose that, but also they've barely cast any spells. They tune the narrative. Now the choice is, do I slam the Wrath? Do I try to Solitude them in combat? Do I just put a 5/5 in front of them and ask what they're going to do about it? Kind of interested in that. And they have Galvanic Discharge. That's a pretty easy answer to my question. My hypothetical. I think I'm just gonna... Oh, I have 8 cards in hand. This is too many. Well, bummer. I guess in that case, I don't want to go to discard. I don't need to do that. I'm going to cast Solitude and zap the Guide of Souls. They found land number 3. Now we're in trouble. Blood Moon. Okay. I have access to another white from Timeless Dragon. Did they think this card was good against me? That's really interesting. Okay, so you don't get to attack, you don't get to gain life. I can Purge Blood Moon. I could Wrath everything except Solitude. That was so interesting. I don't really want Ocelot Pride to be running away with everything. I'm just going to play Misty Rainforest and attack. Gaining the 3 life here is good enough for me to be comfortable passing the turn, I think. So I can answer this thing, the Blood Moon at instant speed. I could also just ignore it for a while. Like, they're on a single white right now, which could slow them down more than it hurts me. This Ocelot Pride trigger will give them 8 cards, Guide of Souls, and the more they dump out into the sweeper, the better. Yeah, this is great. By waiting, I got paid like crazy. Sure, they have the City's Blessing. I don't care. End step, this can happen. They get an extra Goblin Shaman. It's all going to die. It doesn't matter. It's worth a bunch of energy to them. And then I can Brain Surge, then shuffle the Brain Surge. Okay, Brain Surge. Million more answers to the things that they have. The Orb's Chant is here. That rules. I don't need Otawara. I'm tutoring basic planes this turn. I don't think I need 2 purges. A plane cycle. Grab the other basic. Tune the narrative. Got the Emperor. Wrath of the Skies for 3. How much mana do I want to put into this? I have maybe 5 mana worth of things I want to do. Yeah, I'm going to put no extra mana into this. Just do it for 3. Everything's gone. Solitude still rides. They got 3 cards in their hand. Okay, they're fetching. This would have been an interesting spot to Orange Chant them. They tap 2 mana, then fetched in the middle. My plan is to purge the Flage. This is what I've been holding Purge for. Get that out of here. Exiled. Johnny had the Spell Snare in my hand the whole game. And I think I'd still rather get Meticulous Archive here than cast a Deuce. Hallowed Fountain. Yeah, I'll keep that. We're at a point where extra lands aren't hurting me. Timeless Dragons in my graveyard cost 4 to get out. Yeah, let's do it. And I'm at 18. I can afford 2 life. Time to turn the quarter. They got 2 cards in hand. Guide of Souls. Resolves. And they bought Jeggy. Okay. I'm going to make a 2/2 off Wandering Emperor in the end step. Start dealing damage. I'm not going to flip this Terminus, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on how you read that. Attack you with my creatures. I am going to kick Orange Chant next turn. Make another Samurai. I can deduce now. In case there's a spell I want to cast. Counterspell's good. Orange Chant you. Just because it's funny. I don't think it's even better than just holding up Counterspell, but... Freeze. Guide of Souls can't attack. That keeps Wandering Emperor safe. Jeggy and 1 unknown in hand. End step, eat a clue. Noxious Revival! Oh my goodness, is it time? I could just rebuy a Solitude here. I could also do that at any point in the future. I could rebuy the Orange Chant here, just go off. Okay, I am going to get the Solitude back. Now I'm way less worried about the Guide of Souls. I wasn't that worried about it anyway, but now I'm 0% worried about it instead of like 3%. Galvanic Discharge, targeting the Wandering Emperor. Okay. I've activated this card 3 times already. You got it. Not going to counterspell that. We can go into their turn. I can even let them go to combat. If they cast Jeggy, I will Solitude the Guide of Souls. That's because giving them 1 extra life here matters. Oh, that card's annoying. That card's always annoying. And they can immediately escape it, so I am incentivized to Solitude this thing. Yeah, a frustratingly good draw. Destroy target creature enchantment. Its controller makes 2 maps, so I can stuff their life gain here by killing my own samurai. Letting them gain 6 life kind of sucks. Maybe I don't have to do that, though. I counterspell Flage on the way back down. No, I'll just exile Flage with Solitude, and I'll get lost the Guide of Souls when it attacks, if it attacks, and I accept that my samurai is gone. It's fine. That's just like a being too clever thing versus doing a cool thing. All right, does this work how I think it does? Do you want to pay 3? If you do pay 3, then you target. So we can at least get the energy out of the pool, and then get this thing lost. Now I know how cards work. Okay, I feel pretty far ahead. I have Counterspell for the Jeggy, Terminus if things go really out of control. My Hedge Maze, busted. No, my other Noxious Revival costs less. Or doesn't cost life. I kept a Tune the Narrative on top. I have so much mana that leaving Tune on top is the same as putting it in the graveyard, except I get 2 energy. Here comes Giganta the Wellspring into my Counterspell. I have a lethal attack on the board. Ooh, they have an effect. Oh, they're just floating a white. Sure. Cool. All right. We took a game versus energy. It is possible. The purges were really good versus Flage. Just dealing with those took a whole angle of the game off. I'm not going to bring in Surgical Extraction for Flage, though. I could see that being a reasonable option. But if they just don't draw Flage in a game, Surgical's horrible. Though, if we're talking about Phyrexian mana spells and which one is going to have more impact in the fringe situations or it's useful, Surgical versus Noxious Revival. It's the last game of the series. I'm going to leave the Noxious Revival in, and I'm going to go play Magic. I have the Wrath and the Tune. If they have a really good first 2 turns, this hand is awful. Having double Basic Island here is really bad. This is the situation of how my cards could line up poorly, and despite having Tune Wrath, I am going to mulligan this hand. I actually like this hand better. I'm going to keep it and get rid of... Is it Jace or Deduce? Probably Jace. Okay. This doesn't have the Wrath, but I do think this hand is closer to casting Wrath than the one that I mulliganed. Guide of Souls is here. Terminus, yeah. Opponent got to see that embarrassing pause in my draw step. Hallowed Fountain, I'll keep that around. Guide of Souls gets in for 1. They are fetching... What do we got? It's not Raptor with that mana. It is a Johnny. That card's also good. Castle Vantress goes in. Counterspell's available. Deduce is available. More likely going to have to counter than Deduce here. And if they just don't cast the spell, I get to Deduce. But they didn't cast the spell pre-combat, which means the Guide of Souls doesn't get to jump anything. Another Guide of Souls. Yeah, this is awkward, because if I sweep them... Alright, playing into the sweep. Play into the sweeper. I'm going to need to sweep them anyway, so go ahead, have this card. And they sandbagged. Yeah, they played that really well, but I didn't fall for it. Terminus! Tune the Narrative, okay. I'm just going to yell Terminus every time I draw a card. Hallowed Fountain tapped. I'm going to tune the Narrative on their turn. They're declaring attackers. I guess I should let them trigger this. Okay, now is the time to tune. Terminus? It's not a miracle. Okay. I'm going to take 1,000,000 here. And then probably die next turn. Blood Moon, okay. That is actually good this time. Annoyingly. Alright, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I am almost dead here. I can cycle for a basic Plains. And then Deduce into Terminus on the following turn. This does not add damage to the board yet. The next creature they cast does, or if they just Lightning Bolt me. Static Prison, that works too. Okay, I can Deduce here and then die. Alright, yep. Getting got by Blood Moon, kind of embarrassing in this deck, but that rollout was tough in the matchup regardless. Having the double blue in the opening hand with the Wrath available. Maybe I'm just supposed to roll the dice on that. I just thought I was being disciplined at the time, but then my 6 didn't materialize. Would you rather have a Wrath in hand and no way to cast it, or be able to cast it and not have the Wrath? I play more white sources than Wraths. Maybe I'm just supposed to lean in. Okay. I'm willing to believe I messed up that last round. As far as this deck, I really hate Force of Negation. Maybe we should just main deck Narset or something, because Narset actually does stuff in matchups where it's not about countering the One Ring. There are a bunch of matchups where that is important. Teferi is basically at an all-time low in Modern right now. Like, I think I would rather main deck the Narsets, sideboard the Force of Negations, and play the game that way. The Noxious Revival, they made a lot more sense when there were 3 counterbalance in the deck. This time around, I just wish they were cards almost every time I drew them. And then in sideboarding, where it's like, yeah, this is the card that should go out. It was the inspiration for the deck, but I think we've changed the rest of the deck so much that these don't really hold up anymore. Mystic Sanctuary being attached to a fetchable land is a very different calculation than having to draw this spell, then cast this spell, then draw this card that you targeted with this spell. Just totally different thing. Which we knew. Like, obviously, like, calling this Mystic Sanctuary was always a stretch, and I know that, the deck designer knows that. But can it substitute that effect in a deck that would play that card if it was legal? The answer is kind of. Very impressed by Brain Surge, very impressed by Terminus, very impressed by Wrath of the Skies, especially when Tune the Narrative lays it up. Not that Jeskai Energy needs my approval at this point. We all know that tuning the narrative into Wrath of the Skies is great, but Terminus in large numbers, building real game plans around that was actually awesome. And then tuning the flex slots is really just up to the player. If you enjoy this type of Magic and want to win the most, you should probably just play Jeskai Energy. Like, we spent this whole league just terrified of the One Ring when we could actually just register that instead of Brain Surge, or instead of Jace and Wandering Emperor, we could just have 4 rings in our deck. And that Jeskai Energy deck still has Wrath of the Skies, which was one of the best things this deck was doing. Still has Tune the Narrative, has better spot removal in Galvanic Discharge and Prismatic Ending. But as far as building your own deck, doing your own thing, having fun, and playing Magic your way, this build of Blue-White Control is very cool. I would unfortunately recommend cutting the Noxious Revivals regardless. If it's not specifically your pet card, I don't think it holds up. But the rest of this deck was a lot of fun. This is good Magic. Make sure your cards line up right. Don't get got by Blood Moon. Don't tap out when they could cast the One Ring. And just once, flip Terminus in the blind. Trazaeth, thank you for sharing this. Everyone, thanks for following. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.